Hello and welcome to our presentation. Today we will be talking about RealFilter. I am Rua Zeitoun and my partner Melek Darcan, and we will be continuing on with this project. First off, communicating for impact challenge is the topic chosen, and the fulfillments are the following. 1. To combat misinformation and disinformation on social media. Often, social media is very misleading in terms of the information present and what is put out there. So the first initial step was to make sure that no information that is misleading is present and no wrong information, not just misleading information, is present as well. 2. To make sure that it is equitable, inclusive, and interoperable and enable it to function across borders at not just local scales. Regional and global scales are part of the considerations. 3. Help community leapfrog into truly innovative spaces. By doing so, this app would disable people to edit their pictures, and therefore people will be more aware of their settings. People would be able to not scribble on the walls and make sure that the walls are always clean in order to go for that post or that specific Insta picture that they're willing to put on. 4. Advance progress towards Sustainable Development Goals, in particular SDG 16.10, which says, ensure public access to information and protect fundamental freedoms in accordance with national legislation and international agreements. Alright, so what are the 4 fundamental freedoms? 1. Freedom of speech. 2. Freedom of worship. 3. Freedom of want. And finally, 4. Freedom of fear. Now the question is, why are they so important? In order to achieve democracy in a transparent manner, obviously, we have to make sure that everyone has their fundamental freedom protected. The Global Charter would have achieved its purpose, and often it is in that direction. For instance, joining with others, following one's beliefs, listening to different perspectives, speaking your mind, creating groups to succeed in mutual goals, questioning, and many more can be a part of participating in a democracy. Here comes the part where we can discuss the aims of RealFilter. The first aim would be to ensure public and easy access to information and protect the basic and fundamental freedom. Second, detect misinformation and disinformation. Third, reach all audiences, meaning going globally. Fourth, protect individuals' rights to the complete truth, emphasis on that. 5. Create a more open society with no camouflages whatsoever. 6. Teach acceptance of reality than distortion of it.
At this slide, as you can see, this application works step by step. When you want to share any post or any text, you have to use this 3 steps. Is it a text? Is it a photo? And how will affect the other ones? So, as you can see, this application can create security for information. When people see any post or any text, they will think that why he or she didn't use this RealFilter.
So what is the marketing plan for the RealFilter app? Well, first off, we need to have a clear objective, priority set, strategies, and obviously address the risks. First off, with the objective, the goal is to achieve and protect the 4 fundamental free freedoms mentioned priorly, and to prevent misinformation and disinformation on social media. But the priorities are, in getting that to happen, would be that to get the RealFilter app to be widespread amongst multiple audiences and to make the downloading feature very easy and accessible by everyone and for everyone, not just in locations, more of also regarding age groups and demographies. Strategies. When it comes to the strategy, we need to have a fixed marketing strategy. So it would be to focus on promotion. Mainly, our strongest asset would be the advertising on social platforms. And secondly, it would be to turn the application into a trend where we have a lot of people who are willing to adopt it. So once it's out on a trend, people would be willing to adopt it. And a risk would be that the adoption rate is slow or low. That would be a killing spot for the application, as well as that the target market would get blurred and lost. Meaning, the target market has to be well defined, which is obviously for everyone. However, the product plans to be put on the market firstly for the younger audiences to obtain, and once that becomes a popular app amongst them, it would move on to the older generations, where the younger generations would be able to teach them exactly as the social media phenomenon that we've all lived through, where the youngsters are the ones teaching our parents and our elders about how to use an application and how to function. Then comes the marketing mix, the 4 big P's. What are the 4 big P's? Product/service, price, place, and promotion. So first off, we need to have a clear and definite product put, which is the application, and it's kind of providing a service to an extent, obviously. So it's not a tangible application, it's more of an intangible service. And with time, if the application is successful, it could be developed to a software with greater exposure. The pricing is $0.99. It's a one-time purchase, so no subscription is required, and it is per gadget, so it's specific to a gadget. It would have a barcode that would be downloaded upon the purchase of the product, of the service, of the application, obviously. And it would be specific to that gadget, almost like an IP address. It's fixed at $0.99, meaning in any location, in any currency, the price would be $0.99 of that currency to make sure that it's attainable by everyone and to make sure that the expenses aren't too much for people in order to achieve higher popularity of the product, of course. The places would be any online website or application store, and social media accounts or social media platforms will be able to redirect the person to the official web page or the online app store in order to purchase the product, which is the service in this case. We're referring to it as a product because it's not a fixed product, it's more of a service, but at the same time, it's an intangible service. Then finally comes the promotion. It is suggested. So for instance, like when you're talking about suggestions, if it is suggested to 3 other people, you get to have a free download of the application on one of your other gadgets. And online advertisement for social media, of course. Now comes the final part of the marketing plan. It would be to explain the adoption curve. By doing so, one would be able to explain the target market plan, which is everyone. However, it comes and happens in steps. The first stage would be the innovators. The innovators are the people who are the ones who will adopt the product once it's first introduced into the market. They're then followed by the early adopters who want to follow the innovators and who are having more knowledge of the product with time. Then the early majority follows the late majority and the laggards. Now, it is crucial to point out that the target market will start with the younger audience, who are under the innovators and the early adopter stage. And by doing so, they will help popularize the service, and it would be popular amongst the older generations, who are mainly the early majority, late majority, and the laggards. They will fall under these categories. By doing so, it would be able to help spread the service properly without having any problems, any falls, or any risks at that point.